Ed Martin, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Great to be back with you for another fact check. We've got some work to do. Mrs. America, the FX series over streaming on Hulu, it's really a disaster. They're just making up facts. They're just ignoring the truth, and they're trying to mislead Americans and rewrite history. It's terrible. Please visit realmrsamerica.com to find out more about our fact checks, find out more about the real truth, and especially about Phyllis Schlafly, Real Mrs. America. And please like and share this and subscribe right down here to pass this on to other people. Now let's get to it. In this week's episode, some of the falsehoods that they've been showing, some of the lies that they're perpetrating. Let's get right to it. Let's watch Hollywood's first lie in this episode.
It's not just that they've mobilized more people. They've emboldened the Klan to crawl out from under a rock.
The Klan is showing up?
Mississippi will be represented by an all-white delegation in Houston. That includes the wife of the Grand Dragon of the Mississippi Klan.
They're not even hiding.
This is just a total lie. It's just not true. It's extraordinary. They're just trying to smear the pro-family movement that was starting at this time. It's a standard trick to allege things and let them sit there and have people go, oh, that must be so bad. The Mississippi delegation, the pro-family delegation, the people who went to this convention to make their conservative values known, they actually knew that the feminists were going to try to claim this connection to the KKK. It was discussed. And so those conservatives, they signed affidavits at the time verifying that no delegates, not a single one, was a member of the Klan or connected. And do they cover it? No, they cover the opposite. They make it up. It's another hoax perpetrated by Hollywood. And then they next say that Phyllis Schlafly made a deceptive tape, and she took the quotes of the feminists out of context and looped it together. This is factually a lie. It's not true. Now, there was a tape that was made by one of the great Oklahoma leaders, a pro-life warrior, an eagle named Diane Edmondson. And Diane did put together a tape, but the tape exists, and it's only the quotes of the feminists. It didn't misquote anybody because you didn't have to misquote them. Their own quotes, which were on television at the time and were on radio at the time and exist, there's no context to take out of place. There's no out of context use of the quotes. You know what they wanted? In their public statements at the time, unrestricted abortion, unrestricted, no restrictions at all for abortion, paid with tax dollars. They wanted socialism. They said that. They wanted communism. They said that. They were for prostitution and protecting prostitutes. They said that at the time. And they were rabidly for, as is implied in Mrs. America, lesbianism and lesbian rights. That was their platform. There was nothing that any context could make sound any more radical than the truth of what they wanted. Why would anybody try to distort it? Just tell them the truth. Here's another clip from Mrs. America. Watch this.
Where's your queen?
She's been held up in traffic.
In Normal, Illinois. She's not coming, is she? Oh, you don't know it yet.
Mrs. America says that Phyllis Schlafly didn't even go to the Illinois conference, this state convention, and because somehow she was scared to go, give me a break. She'd been debating all over the country. She'd been appearing on national television. The fact is she didn't go because they barred her from speaking. In other words, this supposed federal government-funded bipartisan effort was excluding speakers. All of the speakers who were allowed to speak were for ERA, and none of them were conservative, save one. Rosemary Thompson, who's depicted in this series, who worked with Phyllis, she wrote a book at the time, and she did say that there were almost 50 speakers, and they were paid to be there. And Rosemary Thompson was allowed to speak a little bit, not very much and not in the key spots. She wrote, it was a deliberate shutout of the opposing views. That's what Rosemary Thompson wrote at the time. Those are the facts. But you won't get the facts from Mrs. America. That's why you got to come here and fact check. Listen, this is one of the funniest things. Phyllis Schlafly will come to be regarded as the greatest debater outside of a public office holder. Maybe there's some that were in office. Reagan was in office. He was pretty great. But Phyllis Schlafly, one of the great debaters ever. She destroyed people she debated with her wit, with her style, with her smile, and with her brains. She wasn't afraid of Bella Abzug. Even the depiction in the movie, Mrs. America, in the series, knows that Bella Abzug wasn't sharp, wasn't fast, wasn't quick. She was a political player, not a real debater. And Phyllis never dodged her, never tried to. In fact, she wanted more. Just like Gloria Steinem, Bella Abzug refused to be on the same stage with Phyllis because she knows she would lose. In fact, on November 20th, 1977, these are the facts. Bella Abzug backed out of a television appearance when she was informed that Phyllis was going to be on the show with her. Think about it. Bella Abzug's response was, I'm not going to be on with Phyllis. Then she tried to talk the host into dropping Phyllis off. So much, by the way, for this great debate and bipartisan and let's fight out the issues. No. And when the host refused Bella Abzug, she started saying, but it's my program. I'm the one who gets to speak. And she backed out. Think about that. Here's another one. Bella Abzug was scheduled to debate Phyllis Schlafly on April 21st, 1979. 1 hour before the debate. These are the facts. They exist. We know this. 1 hour before the debate, the moderators were still trying to coax Bella to come out on the stage. She was worried that it was going to be to her disadvantage. Remember, you see it a little bit in Mrs. America. She was a former member of Congress, Bella Abzug. She thought she was entitled to a lot of deference. Well, finally, Bella Abzug agreed to share the stage, but she had the rules changed, so she wasn't put in a position where she actually had to debate. Let's get back to the FX depiction on Hulu of Mrs. America. Watch this clip.
Let me tell you the truth about Phyllis Schlafly. She's a liar, a fearmonger, and a con artist. But worst of all, she's a feminist. She might be one of the most liberated women in America.
Excuse me, but you don't know anything about Phyllis. Before she took up our cause, we were the punchline of jokes on late-night talk shows. Made to feel guilty for being proud homemakers, wanting to stay home with our children instead of going to work in an office.
We don't want to be working girls. She's been our savior, our Joan of Arc.
Everything we know, we learned from her.
What have you learned from her?
So many things she's taught us.
Has she taught you how to lobby legislators?
Of course.
Has she taught you how to draft a press release, a speech?
Yes.
How to answer reporters' questions, get a television interview?
Yes.
How to create a budget and balance it?
Yes.
Congratulations, you're working, girls.
Mrs. America Bella Abzug is repeating this same straw man that the feminists always try to use. They try to say what they think they wanted Phyllis to believe. Phyllis Schlafly didn't turn housewives into something that they hated. She didn't try to make people or make women be something they didn't want to. Phyllis, encouraged women and all Americans to embrace their rights as American citizens and to participate in politics in any way they wanted. I heard Phyllis Schlafly say more than once that politics is where the action is. And what she meant was you can make a real impact on what's happening in your community by knowing how politics works and getting motivated. Phyllis was trying to empower women, and the feminists can't stand that. Fact is that Phyllis Schlafly, the historians believe, they don't just believe this, they state the facts. Left and right agree. Phyllis Schlafly built a national movement, a national grassroots effort. And you don't do it by harassing people or punishing people or making them feel bad. You do it by leadership and motivation. And Phyllis Schlafly was a master of that. One more thing. You don't have to go far. You can read the liberals who write about Phyllis. You can read the conservatives who write about Phyllis. They will all talk about how she inspired people. Phyllis Schlafly inspired women and men to be what they thought they could be, to soar like eagles. That's who she was. That's the facts. In the August 1977 Phyllis Schlafly report, and I have to tell you, go to phyllisschlafly.com to find out more about these unbelievable writings that Phyllis did. But in that one, she wrote this, quote, "The biggest joke about these IWY conferences, it's International Woman of the Year, International Women's Year conferences, but the biggest joke about these IWY state conferences is the picture they paint of the pro-ERA and women's lib movement. They claim that they claim to be as independent and self-reliant as men. Yet the IWY resolutions reveal that they're asking the federal government to solve all their personal problems by their own terms and in their own words, in the facts. They are the most sexist of all human beings." That's 1977. Listen, Phyllis got it right. Hollywood is lying. And Phyllis knew women don't need feminists, they don't need ERA, they don't need these IWY at conferences to succeed. They have the opportunities in themselves and in our great country to do it. And she taught them that, and she showed them that, and so many people have succeeded because of that. Listen, please be sure to like and share and subscribe to this video right down here. Pass it on to other people. Please, help us by getting people to pay attention to what's happening, because we want to get the truth out, and we want to make sure that people understand the real Mrs. America. Go to realmrsamerica.com also to keep up on all this. We'll be back soon because we've got more fact checks, because there's more episodes to come. Thanks for listening.